We're in my office, coming to you live from ABC News with a very special guest. Welcome, Dr. Deepak Chopra.
Thank you, Rebecca.
And we were just talking a minute ago, so you're in the process of writing your 85th book.
Actually, it's done. It's coming out in a week. It's called You Are the Universe.
You Are the Universe. So when you sit down to write these books, 85, you're not even 85 years old at this point. So you've been churning these things out. Do they just come to you?
Actually, they do. I mean, I'm thinking all the time, and I write 3 books a year. So
is that a goal? Do you set that up for yourself?
No, I'm not a goal-oriented person at all. I just let it flow.
When you were a little boy, you're born in New Delhi, 1947. I read you wanted to be a journalist. Maybe that's where the writing comes in?
Yes, I admired a schoolmate of mine who was wanting to be a journalist, so I was a copycat. And I told my father I wanted to do that. I wanted to write books, be a journalist. So on my 14th birthday, he got me all these books about journalists who were also good doctors. So I ended up going to medical school.
Your dad was hoping you would become a doctor in some way.
He was a cardiologist.
Following in his footsteps. I want to let everyone know, everybody who's watching along with us, I know that there are people out there on your Facebook page, my Facebook page, and on ABC who are watching. We are collecting your questions. So if you have a question for Dr. Chopra, let me know, because I will ask a question. And I'm so interested in you for multiple reasons. For one thing, as anybody out there right now, the world is in a place of uncertainty. How do we, in a time of uncertainty, A, what does that do to our insides? And B, how do we sort of overcome all of this noise happening around us and center ourselves?
First of all, recognize that uncertainty and unpredictability is the basis for creativity. Everything is fixed and certain, no creativity. So embrace uncertainty and unpredictability as the prelude to a creative response. And ask yourself, how can I be the change that I want to see at this time in the world? So I think most of us want a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, happier, joyful world. So how can I be that? Because angry peace activists can't make peace. Peace can only be created by those who are peaceful.
Do you ever get angry?
I did recently.
You did recently?
Yeah, during the election season. But
and you were vocal about that.
Yeah, I usually don't get angry.
You don't seem angry today. Maybe you still are.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so what helped you get through that anger?
I reflected and I realized that anger in the midst of a situation is a good expression of how you release your stress. Although I don't get stressed, but I did. So anger is okay, but hostility is not. So hostility is very different from anger. Hostility is when you have the need for vengeance, when you want retribution. That is a dangerous impulse, because that leads to inflammation and actually can be a risk factor for heart disease and sudden death and all those things.
So how do you quiet that hostility inside of you if you feel it?
You stop, you take a few deep breaths, you smile to yourself, and then you ask yourself, what's the best response in this situation?
And for you, meditation is a key part of your life?
Yes, it is.
And writing and thinking and reading are all key parts. You also are involved in business now. You just got into real estate recently.
Well, the way I got involved was I was asked to be an advisor as a medical expert with Delos Living, and they were involved with this company, the real estate company, PMG, and they're all building healthy environments indoor. So, 90% of our time is spent indoor. And we know that the air inside a room is 70 times more likely, 75% more likely to be more unhealthy than the polluted environment outside. This light is not good for your biological rhythms.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
What would be better than this light?
Well, one that they're offering in this Muse building in Sunnyvale, Florida, the PMG group, and it's circadian lighting. It has computer chips in the light so that your rhythms are balanced with circadian rhythms outside. As the sunlight changes during the day, that too changes. So sleep disruption is basically due to an imbalance in your circadian rhythms. When you have jet lag, for example, that's a imbalance in your circadian rhythms. Now we know that there's a nerve, optic nerve, the part of the optic nerve, which is actually responsive to light even in blind people. And this is the circadian part of the optic nerve that goes to the brain. And if your rhythms are balanced with the rhythms of nature, then that balances your hormonal cycles, your sleep-wake cycles, appetite, everything that we call homeostasis in the body, self-regulation. And one of the biggest causes now of disruption of biological rhythms is the lighting, is the quality of air.
Staring into your phone
water.
late
Yes,
at night, I'm sure, is something that has an
it all
impact
does
as well.
Disrupt. So we want to create an environment inside buildings which really is good for your biology. We call it biological sustainability. So, the word environment is not a good word. It's our extended body. Those trees are our lungs. The air is our breath. The earth recycles as our body. The water is our circulation. The air is our breath. So our home should be like our extended body.
We're getting some great questions from the audience. Katrina Doherty says, when did you first feel enlightened and what led you to this path?
I still don't feel enlightened.
You don't feel enlightened?
If you read my columns during the early part of the election cycle. But I realized as a physician that it was not enough to take care of the body. We are not just a physical body that has learned how to think. We are a complex organism that thinks, feels, has personal relationships, social interactions with nature. Every emotion we have has an effect on our biology. So I started to move from being just a physicalist in my approach. I trained in neuroendocrinology, which is the study of brain chemicals. And I realized very early on in my career that emotional well-being was crucial to physical well-being. We didn't know this 30 years ago, but now we can actually see that our emotional brain, which is the limbic brain, is in fact very much responsible for self-regulation of everything in our body, not only hormones, but every feedback mechanism.
When your emotions are off, it impacts you physically.
Yeah, so if you have love in your life, compassion, joy, equanimity, that creates self-regulation and return to homeostasis, which is healing. If you're feeling hostility, fear, cynical mistrust, guilt, shame, depression, it disrupts everything in your body. We just published some research from our center which showed that in a 6-day meditation retreat, the levels of an enzyme called telomerase, which regulates your biological age at the genetic level, went up 40%. All the genes that are responsible for self-regulation went up, sometimes 17-fold. So our emotions are very significant. Also, if you practice gratitude, if you ask yourself, what am I grateful for? Your brain changes, and also the inflammatory markers in your body, which cause inflammation, which put you at risk to disease, they go down. I don't think there's any drug that replicates the experience of gratitude or love or compassion.
Robert Onion asks, what is the secret of your success?
I used to think it is my Indian accent, but actually...
Now it's the glasses? No, I'm just kidding.
Those glasses and my shoes are created by my grandkids.
They do a great job with
that.
They
want their grandfather to look cool. So No, the secret is, I think, my scientific background with my interest in consciousness and healing.
That there's both something that's very practical and grounded, and you've coupled it with this pursuit.
With the pursuit, my goal always in my life was to reach 1 billion people with personal and social transformation so we could create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier planet. Now, I've sown the seeds, future generations can take it forward.
And when you think about the 1 billion people,
it's this.
It's
what
this?
we're doing right
Yeah.
now, you see. On your Facebook, on my Facebook, on ABC, and soon on Twitter, everywhere else. We have the technology right now to create a global brain. If we do it right, to create every problem-solving solution for the world, whether it's climate change, whether it's the restoration of the ecosystem, whether it's the message of healing. The technologies already exist. We just don't have the critical mass of intentionality. And some of it is because people aren't aware of the facts. So when they become aware, not only of what's happening, but what the solutions are, and there are enough of us there, the world will change.
We're getting great questions from all of you out there who are watching, and thank you for answering them, Deepak.
Rebecca.
Dion Reed asks, hi Deepak, how can you calm anxiety?
Here's it. I mentioned it below. I call it the STOP formula. S stands for stop. T, take 3 deep breaths and breathe and smile everywhere, from your toenails to your hair follicles and in your heart as well. O, observe your body, because when you're feeling distressed, the body is a little distressed too. And then P, proceed with compassion and awareness. Keep doing it till it becomes a habit.
And you don't even think about it.
Yeah, I don't.
So how long would you say all of these things that you talk about, how long did it take you to do them before they just became natural, like breathing to you?
Several years, but they are natural, you know, and I start my day, every day, with 4 intentions. Joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, reflective, alert mind, and lightness of soul, lightness of being. So I seed my day with those intentions right in the beginning, in the morning. And then at night I reflect on the day and see how it went, and it went great. I also ask myself every day, who am I, what do I want, what's my purpose, what am I grateful for? These are simple things anyone can do.
How did you answer the who am I and what's my purpose today?
I am the universe squeezed into the volume of a body in the span of a lifetime. What do I want? I want a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, happier world. I've said that many times. What's my purpose? Healing. What am I grateful for? Existence.
Richard Vanden Bigeler, I hope I said that right, Richard, asks, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to Indian classical music, but I also listen to Beethoven and Mozart and Tchaikovsky. I love classical music.
Sadesh Ashkarar asks, how do you find a way when you are lost in life?
Stay lost. It's the best place to be. But ask yourself, what's my passion? What's my purpose? What's my story? What am I good at? And then write down your story, and then you will find your way. But don't worry being lost, because if you weren't lost, you would be complacent.
I think that's probably one of the nicest things for anybody who's feeling lost, to
Yeah,
hear the
thank
idea
you.
that you're supposed to be,
Yeah, of
and that it can
course.
be good for you.
Yeah.
Arati Srikantaya asks, what did you have for breakfast today? That was part of your morning too, right?
Yes, it was. I had a little bit of plain yogurt and fruit this morning for breakfast. It's good for your microbiome.
Do you do that every day? Same breakfast every day?
No, I sometimes don't have breakfast. Sometimes I just have a smoothie. And I vary my breakfast.
We've been talking a little bit, for those of you who are just joining us, about a new real estate project that you're involved in. It's called The Muse.
Yes.
It's right now there's one location in Florida, but there will be
Yeah.
other locations
There'll be other
as well.
locations. This one location is, the building is called Muse. It's in Miami, Florida.
And I took a look at it. It looks beautiful. We have a picture. This is the picture right here.
There you are.
This is it. There you guys go. So it's a beautiful building. The apartments are pretty expensive for most people. For people who are trying to create a physical environment like this in their own lives, what are some of your recommendations for making a good
and by the way,
environment?
initially, whenever there's a movement, it starts with luxury and expense, but soon it becomes easily available for everyone.
That's an interesting point. So you see this becoming something that will be duplicated, and you'll see it in lots of other places.
You know, I teach a course at Columbia Business School. It's called Just Capital and Cause-Driven Marketing. And what we do with our students at the end of my course, they have to all get into teams and they have to create business plans for something that fits the definition of just capital and also cause-driven marketing. And my students come up with the most extraordinary solutions. So if you have a plant like this, you could have a whole railing here, a little bed here for different plants. So, you know, you can breathe your carbon dioxide to them and they can give you the oxygen.
More plants.
More plants. So you put an animal in a vacuum, it'll die, a rabbit. If you put a plant in a vacuum, it'll die too. If you put them together, they'll both live. So we live in a symbiotic universe where everything is connected to everything else. So try and drink. By the way, New York City water is very good for you. I found out.
So you don't need bottled water.
You don't need bottled water.
Obviously
and
you
if you
don't,
do,
but
then you don't use a plastic bottle.
Okay, no plastic bottles.
Yeah, so,
drink out of the tap.
You know, buy your products from places where you know that the produce is organic or healthy. I live by Union Square and there's a farmer's market there. I go and buy everything from there because your food is contaminated with chemicals. It's refined. It comes from a factory. It contains antibiotics. It contains hormones. It contains petroleum products. That messes up the microbiome in your body, which is your second genome. It's 2.2 million genes as compared to the 23,000 genes you got from your parents. And that comes into contact with food first, but it also responds to emotions. So for those people who want very simple solutions, here are 5 or 6. Make sure you get good sleep every day.
What's good sleep?
It can be anywhere from 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
But without medication, okay? It has to be regular sleep. I get, by the way, up to 8 hours of very peaceful, good sleep. Practice some kind of stress management technique. You know, whether it's a little bit of mindfulness or just remember to breathe, remember to stop. Stress management. Number 3, healthy emotions. Make sure you have love in your life. That's the most important thing of all the things I've mentioned.
What do you say to people who say, I don't feel love?
Express it. Go find a child to express your love. Or, you know, I slept with the homeless last winter one day just to feel what they were feeling. So, you know, express love. 4th is practice movement, at least 10,000 steps. I, of course, do yoga every day. It's part of my routine. 5th is healthy nutrition. And 6th, something which is becoming very interesting is when you walk barefoot on the ground, not a pavement, say grass or the earth or on the beach, the negative ions from the earth come and neutralize all the free radicals that build up as a result of stress in your body and neutralize them. So these days many people are making what are called grounding devices. So you could be sitting here and you could be having your bare feet on this carpet and this could be grounded to the earth through a wiring and you would feel better. So grounding, but in nature is much better, of course, and the lighting is very important.
So, and this lighting isn't good. So we'll get out of this lighting as quickly as possible.
It's okay.
Thank you. Those were great answers. Those were phenomenal questions, guys. And we have to conclude here, but I want to leave everyone with two things from you. First off, your book coming out next week. The name of your book?
You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. And the website is discoveringyourcosmicself.com.
And
we can engage in discussion. And actually, people who get to the website, we have a free course on science, consciousness, cosmology with my co-writer who's a quantum physicist.
Fantastic. And let everyone know where they can find you, because you are very active online as well. Although you once told me that you try to be active but also be present, so you're not on your phone all day long.
So if you see a Twitter message which is not about knowledge or wisdom, it's not from me. Okay, it's probably from my office or from my publishers. I only engage if it's useful. I have just a very simple formula. Am I having fun? Am I hanging out with people who are fun to be with? And is it making a difference? If the answer is yes, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great
Thanks.
to see you.
So
Have a nice weekend.
You.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you. I hope you have a great weekend. Again, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News' Chief Business, Technology, and Economics Correspondent. You can find more of me right here on Facebook on abcnews.com. Make sure to check out Real Biz with Rebecca Jarvis and my new podcast, No Limits. You can find it. We'll post all the information right here on Facebook. Have a great weekend, guys. Be safe. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.